Hello and welcome. I'm Anand Naidu, filling in for Riz Khan. My guest today has entertained thousands of people in sold-out shows around the world. Russell Peters was born in Canada to Anglo-Indian parents. The son of immigrants has used his own ethnicity for laughs and has carved a niche for himself in the world of comedy based on racial stereotypes. Here's a clip from his first major release, Outsourced.
I like cultural names. Cultural names are really cool. You know, I don't have a cultural name, and Indian people for some reason have a real tough time with this, but my real name is Russell Peters. That's my real name. Both my parents are from India, and they named me Russell Dominic Peters. Dominic, I got an Italian middle name, because my parents are from that Italian part of India. Calcutta, you know that part there? That's it. You have a problem with my name? Talk to my parents, Eric and Maureen. And my brother Julio.
Remember, we take your questions and comments on this show. You can call us at the numbers there at the bottom of your screen. Well, Russell, Dominic, Peters, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me, Anand Aloysius Naidu.
Welcome to the show. Dominic, I thought that was French.
No, Dominique is French.
Dominique is French.
And Dominic is Italian. Domenico is Italian.
You're not hiding any French influence here?
No. I mean, I was born in Canada. That's about as French as I got. I can kiss it, toast it, and fry it. That's as much French as I can do.
Great. Now, you've just done 2 shows in D.C., sold out, like all your shows. It's been sold out. And
Things are good.
From what I understand, you have a bit of a cult following there. It's all word of mouth. It's the underground that talks about Russell Peters. So do you have a cult following, something that parents should be afraid of?
It's not like a crazy cult. It's not like I'm going to make them drink Kool-Aid or put on these black Nikes and go to sleep with me. It's just, you know, the people aren't getting what they want from the mainstream media, so they seek what they want out on the internet, and they found me, and I've somewhat become the people's champ, you know?
So what aren't they getting on the media?
What aren't they getting out of the media?
What aren't they getting on the media that they're getting from you?
They're getting the truth from me. They're getting the things that everybody's afraid to say on TV and stuff like that. You know, I talk about different cultures. See, people make this big thing about race, especially in America, in North America. They're always talking about race, and I draw this line between race and culture because they're 2 very different things. You can meet a black guy from America and a black guy from Africa. Racially, they're the same, but culturally, they're completely different. So I think that's the difference between what I do.
And that's the source of your material.
That is the source of my material, because I think things are funny culturally than they are racially.
And, I mean, do you find that it ever, at some point, engenders some kind of a reaction that is hostile?
I mean, it depends on what your topics are. I mean, I stay away from religion. That's the one topic I will not touch with nothing. I'm not touching it. I'm not even going to say a religion's name in that one.
Now, how did you get into this? I mean, when you were growing up, did you go to your parents and say, hey, Mom, Dad, I'm not going to go to medical school. I'm going to be a stand-up comic?
Yeah, no, it was never that serious in my family. My mom worked at Kmart. And my dad was a federal meat inspector, so, you know, the bar wasn't set too high in my house. My dad was a very well-educated man, and he spoke extremely well, but I wasn't a good student in school, so there was never any hope of my parents. That fortunately, they were like, you know, thank God, because we can't afford to send him. And the beautiful thing was I was never going to get accepted to any university or college.
Well, I heard this, bad joke, but you know what you call an Asian comic?
What?
Unemployed.
Well,
right.
Not anymore.
You've changed that. Yeah, you've changed that. Okay, we have a caller on the line. We have Anoop calling from Dubai. Anoop, go ahead with your call.
Yeah, hi. Dude, I just wanted to check out something from you.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you, Anoop.
Yep. I just need to find out, actually, what made you decide to take up, comedy as your career?
Well, there wasn't a whole lot of happening in my life at the time, you know. I started when I was 19. This is 18 years in the game now, so it was one of those things you just start to do and you hope for the best. And here we are, live on Al Jazeera.
Well, thanks, Anoop. Thanks for that call.
All right, Anoop.
Well, you've,
I just like the way Anoop said, dude.
Dudes.
Dude.
Yeah. Well, you talk about, different races, different cultures, different groups. Let's look at this clip. This is about from one of your shows. You're talking here about the Chinese and the manner in which they speak English.
Okay.
Let's have a look at that.
You can tell when Chinese people are speaking English. When Chinese people speak English, it sounds like they're chopping vegetables with the words. You know what I mean? You don't go nowhere quick. Don't say nothing, pet. Don't say nothing, what? Pet. How did you just make a short word even shorter? Went to China last year. Man, when Chinese people, where are you? Right there? They're over there? They're over here too, look at that. You Chinese too, bro? Yeah. Right? He looked upset about that. You Chinese too? He's like, yeah. I try to do this a lot, but it doesn't work. No, I'm a Polish.
Have you ever been in front of an audience that has been really hostile? You know, something that you just can't get over?
You know, it's funny with the type of material I do. I run into hostile audiences when it's like a white audience, like a white politically correct audience. Or any kind of business crowd. They will not laugh or smile at anything I have to say.
And how do you get past that? I mean, you know,
Hey,
you're standing there, you know, doing all your jokes, and nobody's laughing.
Yeah, you got to go into other stuff at that point. That's the beautiful thing about having the experience behind me, you know, because it wasn't always good. It was, you know, I was doing bars in small towns, and you know, you have hillbillies at your shows and bikers, and you have all kinds of different people that aren't going to laugh at that kind of material. So you have to figure out how to connect with people. And
that's the tough part, right?
It's like boxing. You have to adapt your style to the guy you're fighting.
Well, I want to talk about boxing in a minute, but what about a drunk audience? You know, like you go there and...
Oh, I hate drunk audiences.
Yeah? Do they heckle you?
Them. You know, actually, on that DVD outsourced, what you're watching is the first show. We taped 2 that night, and the first show was the only one we could use. The second one, the entire audience was drunk. Like 5 minutes in, a girl vomited in the front row, and then her friends got up to help her, and they wiped out in her puke. I was like, this is awful.
It wasn't funny.
And then they were like, they weren't like heckling. They were like yelling out like old jokes. I'm trying to tape a new special. It was so yeah. I do not appreciate a drunk audience on any day.
Okay, let me get back to boxing. I was doing some research on you. I was reading that you had 3 career choices in your younger days: comedy, being a hip-hop DJ, and boxing.
Yeah. I boxed amateur for 9 years.
Really? Well, your nose is in fine
big.
shape.
It's big.
It's in fine
my
shape,
coach,
though.
It's funny, my coach used to call me Big Nose in the gym, and I would get headaches after I would train because he would make me keep my head down like this. He'd go, keep your head down because people are going to try and hit your nose. So I would do this, and I'd come home with a headache because I was looking up the whole time. I was on the gym. But I never broke it. It became very nice and flexible, though. It's good.
It looks like. But why boxing? I mean, were you bullied as a boy?
I was bullied as a kid, you know, and I was bullied because I didn't fight back. I didn't know how to fight back. So when I was about 15, I started. One of my friends was a Canadian champ, and he was like, my dad said, go to the gym with Willie, and because my dad used to box in India, I guess back then in school and boarding schools they used to make them box, you know, whatever the term. I'm forgetting the word now, but. It was compulsory is what the word is. And so I started boxing when I was 15, and I loved it. I liked getting punched in the head in a controlled environment.
Perhaps this is why you're such a good comedian, right?
That's right.
That probably contributed to it. Let's have another look at another clip from your show. This one is about Indians, and it's...
Really?
Yeah, and you
did a joke about Indians,
yeah,
did I?
Well, about the Indian language. You know, that language called
the language
called Indian. Let's have a look at that.
Gotcha.
It's like when people come to me and like, hey Russell, how do you say hi in Indian? I'm like, well, there's no language called Indian, so I don't know what you're asking me. All right, smartass. How do they say hello in India? Like this. Hello!
Would you consider your humor being the opposite of being politically correct?
Do you mean politically incorrect?
Yeah.
No, I don't buy that at all. I think politically incorrect is actually ignoring that we have differences. That to me is that's politically offensive.
Right.
To ignore somebody's differences is to me politically incorrect. I think I'd rather celebrate them. And in celebration of everyone's differences, you actually find out that there's similarities.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at it from the outside, sometimes people regard race and people coming from different racial backgrounds as being a very sensitive issue. You've got to tiptoe around that, but you don't tiptoe around it.
No,
right?
no, I like to stomp through with clown shoes on.
Right, okay. You ever played India?
I just played India last month. I did Bangalore, Bombay, and Delhi. I call it Bombay still, that's right. You know I call it Bombay? Because India didn't change the name to Mumbai till what, about maybe 10 years ago? And you know what? The British left 60 years ago. If we were going to show like we had big balls, then we would have changed it in 1947, like August 13th. You know, like right after they left. We're changing it.
So it's still Bombay to you?
Even when I said it when it's funny, when I was in Bombay and I said, I'm still calling it Bombay, they cheered. Everywhere in India, when I said I'm going to call it Bombay, they were like, yeah.
Well, it was a political party that wanted to change.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was one of the political parties down there. We have another caller on the line. This is Raj from Dubai. Dubai is up and
Dubai was very good to me, I'll tell you. Go ahead, Raj. What's up, buddy?
Raj, can you hear us?
Hi, Russell. Hi, how you doing?
You have to turn your TV down there, Raj.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank God I can't see you, though. Go ahead, Raj.
All right, good. How you doing? I think I saw last show that you performed in Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, you're a very funny guy. Had a great time, great value for money. What I want to know is how, the audiences react to, the show where you, kind of took the mickey out of some of the locals.
How they react?
Yeah, I mean, did you get any backlash or something?
No, not at all. It's funny. I think people actually get offended if I don't make fun of them now. That's what we're running into more of, Raj. It's people like upset that I didn't talk about them. It's almost like it's quite an honor for me to have them feel like it's an honor for me to talk about them, And when I was in Dubai, I had people come up to me after going, oh, you should have made more fun of the locals. And it was like local people telling me this. Oh, if you had told me, I could have taught you some Arabic words, And I'm like, well, now you tell me.
Who's your favorite comic?
Of all time, George Carlin.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then Eddie Murphy influenced me a lot. He had a very storytelling way about him, and I have since adapted a storytelling way about myself.
Oh. We have an email here. Email from Michelle Warren, Ottawa, Canada.
Hello, Michelle.
And she says, his humor has lightened the gravitas of parenting. You never knew that you lightened the gravitas of parenting.
I didn't even know that gravitas was a word.
Yeah. Being a visible minority and raising kids in a multicultural society by making us capable of laughing at ourselves. Russell, have you ever considered being a family counselor?
No. Not a big fan of the kids, really. I mean, I like people to have kids. I just don't think I'd be good around kids that need counseling.
And I guess it doesn't pay as well.
That's the other thing, really.
Right.
They bring a kid in with problems and I'm like, listen, kid, you're going to need to grow up. That's my friend. My best friend just had a baby girl in January. She's 4 months old now. And I said, well, she got a job yet? Like, this is the laziest kid ever. 4 months old and she's not even walking?
Right.
I don't think I have the patience.
So, I presume there are no children in the Peters family at the moment?
No, not so much.
Nothing on the horizon?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not.
I was wondering that if when you put together a show, do you tailor it to a specific audience? Like when you've done South Africa, for instance.
I have.
South Africa knows a few things about race, right?
One or two.
One or two things. I know, I come from there.
I know.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I said to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. So how would you, for instance, deal with the race issue in South Africa?
See, now here's the thing. The more racially tense a country is, the easier it is for me to get in there and do my thing. Because the locals are afraid to say anything for fear of looking like they're picking sides. But if an outsider like myself comes in and I have I'm completely unbiased to the situation, they appreciate anything I have to say about it. And when I was in South Africa, I was talking about the tension between Indians and the blacks. And it went over.
Very taboo subject.
It's a very taboo subject. Yeah. And I said, it's funny because I said in South Africa, you got tensions between Indians and blacks, and some of the Indians are blacker than the blacks.
And then we also have a group of people called coloreds,
Yes, and the brainos.
Very good, brainos, yeah.
The brainos.
You've obviously learned
that's their colloquial term, right?
That's right. You've learned the lingo.
I have learned the lingo over there.
While you were down there.
I love South Africa. I think it's one of the most awesome, underrated countries in the world.
I agree.
And I think they should really boost their tourism.
Yeah, they're getting there.
They should, because it's just a wonderful place to be.
They're getting there. Now, a little bit of a serious note. A lot of your stuff has got out on the internet, on on YouTube, for instance. That wasn't you, right?
That wasn't me. You know, it wasn't me, but I can't say that it didn't help me, because up until 3.5 years ago, nobody knew who I was outside of Canada or South Africa. They knew me in Canada, South Africa, and England, but that's because that's where I used to tour all the time. And then, you know, the internet really just put me worldwide. I don't want to say blew me up on Al Jazeera, but it really made things pop for me around the world.
Okay.
And as you know, it's a double-edged sword now, because you know there's hours of material on Google Video and YouTube, and so now the problem is that my shows I've hired people to specifically walk the aisles and stop people from trying to tape me, because now I'm doing new material. I can't have, you know, I write some new stuff, and then it gets out on the internet, and then the next week I'm supposed to do a show and I've got no material because everyone's like downloaded it and watched it.
Right.
So, you know.
Okay, we've got literally 20 seconds. Tell
Do
me,
it.
the future, television, movies?
Television, movies, I'd love to do both, I'll be honest with you. That's my ultimate goal. And I've got 2 movies coming out this summer, The Take and Senior Skip Day.
Great, you got that in there. Thank you. Well, thanks for being with us, Russell
Thanks,
Dominic
Anand.
Peters. Thank you very much. And on the next show, we'll be looking at something completely different. We'll be looking at guns for hire, the mercenaries in the Middle East, Latin America, and Africa. That's serious. I'm serious. That have turned parts of Iraq into the Wild West. Don't forget, if you have any thoughts on that issue or any other thoughts about pressing issues around the world, send your emails to riz@aljazeera.net. Street Talk is next, but before that, before we get to that, here's another slice of Russell Peters.
That